Welcome. Gotta make sure this microphone is working before we get started. Can you hear me, folks? My beard is all messed up. Give it a couple minutes for people to show up. Hey, all right, so I guess we'll officially start it. Welcome to the Karis Pen Co. April live stream. I'm Paul. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get officially started in just a couple of minutes to let more people join. We'll let the chat kind of fill up. Just a little low. All right, let me adjust the levels here. Well, we can't adjust that one anymore. All right, that's going to have to do. I got the levels all the way up. This is a different microphone, so. Are you guys excited? Got another giveaway. We're going to go over some cool stuff. Got some, I don't know if it's, I don't have any bad news really. Just random stuff to talk about. I don't have a ton to go over, so. Hey, Colin, Sean, Chris, how's it going? Scott. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Friday / I guess maybe Saturday for some of y'all, depending on where you are in the world. Excuse me. Hello, Nostra Vinci. Blake, howdy. Dave isn't funny. Hey, Dave. Hello, Amanda and boys. All right, we're going to officially kick it off. Hi, Bob. We're going to officially kick it off. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I've been here since a little after 7, cranking away, so. All right, let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. I know I said it earlier, but nice of you to be here on this wonderful April. Hopefully you're staying cool. It is officially pre-summer Arizona conditions. It hit 90 yesterday, or 92, or maybe 94, and it's in the 90s today. So it is officially air conditioner season here. Hello, Michael. So if you're somewhere cooler than here, I am jealous. I got a list of things to go over today. We're gonna kind of bounce around a little bit. We'll do we'll start with some of the Wednesday poll stuff. I put a wrap up in trying to remember, in the one of the emails, not the last time, but the time before last, I think. But had some questions about the poll in general. Thank you. We're averaging about 500 to 600 responses on the poll questions. If you're not a member, if you're curious about what I'm talking about, we run a poll on Wednesdays a couple times a month via the newsletter. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, you can find that on our website. But probably most of you are, since you're here joining us, which we only really advertise the live streams on the newsletter. The poll, this is kind of like, we've used them in the past, like a big poll with like 30 to 50 questions. And I wanted to do something a little bit different and narrow things down to like between 1 and 3 questions. Nothing super crazy, just to touch on like different topics, and then take what was asked in the previous poll and carry it forward in another, like use like the next logical step in terms of the next question or list of questions. So we did some rollerball specific and some fountain pen specific polls after we asked whether people primarily used rollerballs or fountain pens. And a lot of the data was stuff that we'd had before. There's a slightly different, there's some slight shifts in terms of percentages of the people that were answering the questions. We've seen a little bit of a resurgence of ballpoint refills over the last like 5 or 6 polls that we put out there. The ballpoint refills were trending down significantly until this last set of polls that we put out, and they're back up to about 25% of the people that carry rollerballs, which is interesting. And I guess we can, our own internal, if I were to like really break down our sales from last year, our own internal sales data would have shown that to be true. We sold a lot of ballpoint refills. I didn't actually look at the sales. I looked at how many we purchased, our purchased orders for specifically for Easy Flow refills, and they were up dramatically over the year before. So that was interesting to see. And then the last question we did this last time, was like 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't remember. It was the end. Sorry, it was the end of March. We haven't done an April. I don't think we've done an April poll yet because I've had some other stuff going on. But this is kind of segueing into running another poll. We were asking specifically like influences, what prompts you to make decisions on buying a pen, and then if you, not that you're necessarily looking to get something in terms of like when you receive the pen, but is it more important to see if you were to get like a coupon code, or like us to throw in like some type of small like freebie like sticker sheet, or a keychain or fridge magnets or something like that, postcard set. So the purchasing stuff, how much 5, 10K? No, that's a lot. I would say significant. We buy, I would say, every year, I think we purchase about 7,000 G2 refills, between 5,000 and 7,000 G2 refills on average. We usually do 2 orders a year for about 2,000 2-packs, somewhere between 3,000 and 2,000 2-packs. And then we probably order about between 500 and 1,000 Easy Flows between the blues and blacks over a year-long period. But this year we've definitely been at, like, I would say over 1,000. We've been between 1,200 and 1,500 of the Easy Flow refills. Now we've sold a lot of those refills on their own, so there has been some of that, but we've seen an uptick in the sales of pens that accept those in those conversions. So that refill's kind of been up there. So we asked about like what influences your decision on buying a pen. In the past, price has been a relatively significant. Usually, price has usually been second or third place answer, and that kind of, this poll was in that vein too. Like the first set of answers was I don't have one. Like 27% of people answered that they don't have one, and I like experimenting with new things. 22% of respondents said that their influence was it fits my collection and I don't have this specific one. And then in the third place, 17.5% answered the price is right. So price is obviously, we know that price is one of those things. People, even in a robust economy, price is always an answer that gets significantly chosen on any of the polls that we put out there. We're aware of that fact. I think any retailer is aware of that. We'd like to add it on there because I think people, if they don't see it, tend to not answer the questions and just won't respond to the poll in and of itself. And then in terms of like what's a better surprise, this is a weird one. This one really threw me by surprise, because I figured like a coupon code or something in there that was significant, or a gift card, like a gift card in the package, or like a loyalty point system, which we've talked about, and a lot of retailers use loyalty points program. The overwhelming 50%, 49.9% of respondents chose a random gift added to my order. So, hey, those are the answers that we got from most people, which is really surprising to me. I figured like a gift card in there. And I really figured that the loyalty points program thing would be the second place one, just based off of how many other places use loyalty points programs to incentivize purchases, basically. I mean, Starbucks, every single major retailer has one now, from your grocery store to Target, Starbucks. Heck, even car companies now have referral programs and stuff like that that are basically kind of like a loyalty point system. Yeah, that was funny, Bob. We actually toyed around with a sticker sheet that was basically a punch card type thing. But that would be funny. It would be a little bit difficult. Hello, Carol. So that's kind of like where we've gone so far with those questions. I think the next set of questions will be I have a list of them written down, but I think the next one's going to be based around older products that we have released, and like what people would potentially want to see us kind of do a small like special release run in 2024, and not just pen products, but like, you know, some of the random different desktop things that we released, like the keychain type things, like the whatchamacallit, and I forget what the other ones are called. Some more pry bar, like the Delrin pry bars, and the little what are they called? I don't know. I'll have a whole list of them. I'm drawing a blank here on all the different random things, but some of the stuff that we haven't released in a while versus like bringing back an older pen or something like that. There might be one or two of those on there that we haven't done in a long, long time, like a style of pen or something like that. The majority of them are going to be like non-pen things. We frequently get asked, "Hey, do you have any more of these laying around the shop?" And most of the stuff that we've done that are non-pen products, we don't have anymore. We've sold through them all initially, or had so many people ask about them that we're kind of out of them. Like, we get questions about the phone cases constantly, and hey, do you have any more of these around the shop? And I'm like, well, they wouldn't fit your phone, number one, and number two, no, we don't. Like, those were almost 10 years ago now. So that's kind of where the next questionnaire is going to be. Is going to be more around like, hey, what are your thoughts on some of our old products? Yeah, Ish, I wondered about that too, like whether or not the loyalty program was actually something, because there is an initial investment in setting it up and getting it on the website and maintaining it, and kind of getting it off the ground. on whether I think it's largely a forgotten thing unless it's like a loyalty points program for something that you engage in on like a daily or weekly thing. So I think places like your supermarket loyalty program or Starbucks or McDonald's or places that get that kind of return customer on a daily or weekly basis where I say have to, you don't have to go to Starbucks, but you know, that a lot of people choose to go there all the time on a daily basis or multiple times a day. So I think there is something to say about those being far more successful than some of the smaller companies. I don't know that it necessarily makes a sense for us. It was just a question that I was curious what people would say, what the numbers would bear out. And it was less than 10%. It was above a gift card in the package, but it was just under 10% respondents answered that. The coupon code was the second highest request, our highest answered question, highest answer on the poll. So, Carol, so we were real close to being done with them, and then we tried a new cleaning method on 50% of them and ended up ruining 50% of them via the cleaning method. So we're behind a little bit on that one. I would imagine it still might be this month that we would see those get released. I'm not positive how much they've caught up this past week on getting those basically remade. So that's kind of where we're at with the poll. The other thing I will say is, if you do answer the poll question, please check your email when I respond, because none of the two winners on this last poll responded to my multiple attempts to get their addresses so I could send them their prizes. So yeah, it would be nice. It would be like, check your emails. I'll probably be randomizing and emailing a couple other winners for that poll, because it's been 2 weeks and nobody's responded to me. So I'll probably redo those winners and send those out so I can, make sure that those get out. James. Nope, not this one. Not this one. This is like one of the only ones from the first run that we have left. So that's Bill's. He's loaned it to me just for display in here. Fluoridated cleaner. I don't know what they used, but it was something that basically crystallized the Ultim. So. All right, so that kind of wraps up that portion. Look for the next poll this week on Wednesday, and we'll run it from Wednesday through Sunday, and then draw the winner on Monday or Tuesday. So I haven't picked out a prize yet for that one, but oh no, Ish, they were not functional at all. Like, they were completely non-functional, cracked, voids, missing, completely. It wasn't melted, but it basically basically it was like turned them into brittle plastic. More like the consistency of like really thin sugar, so like it would just crack like hardened sugar. Yeah, it was crazy, really crazy. Yeah, it is true. It's that certain chemicals do really make Ultim. You got to be careful on what you use for those. So It wasn't an acid. No, it's an acid-based. It wasn't an acid-based cleaner. It's a cleaner that we use on. The only reason we tested it on this is we use it to clean metal, but we also use it to clean Delrin, and it cleans Delrin just fine. And they didn't even think to check to see if it could also be used to clean Ultim. But the Delrin and Ultim are nowhere near like similar in terms of chemical makeup, and so yeah, it just wasn't a good thing. Ultim's nowhere. It's not indestructible. It's very robust for a chemical for a plastic, but all plastics are susceptible to something, whether it's heat or cold or certain types of chemicals. I believe it's chlorinated, not fluoridated. I believe it's chlorinated chemicals. Ultim is susceptible to, and I think this cleaner is a chlorinated vapor. Like part of it's vaporized in the tank that we used. So, I mean, it is what it is. Stuff happens. Mistakes get made all the time. It just is going to push back the release for a little bit. So, but yeah, like, you just got to be careful with plastic pens. Any type of and even metal pens are susceptible to certain types of, not cleaners, but certain types of, solvents and stuff like that, depending on the type of pen or heat or whatever. So you're not going to, most people will probably add it to the Ultim pens in the future. Just, hey, don't use chlorinated cleaners with your Ultim pens. No bleach. Do not use bleach on it. But I always say that the best cleaner for any type of plastic is just going to be warm water and a mild detergent, something like Dawn. If you absolutely need something to clean your plastic pens, that's definitely the way to go. All right, so I'll do the modal update next, and I want to start to move the live streams away from having as much modal focus as we've had. They've kind of taken up the live streams probably since November. The majority of the live streams have focused largely on the modal, so we'll get the update out of the way. But you can plan. I'll talk a little bit about plastic stuff in the ink section when we get to that. And then we'll have a Q&A too. So we'll hit that. But I want to go ahead and move on with some of this stuff. So I'm gonna switch cameras real quick. So one of the updates with the modal is going to be that we've got probably I would say 6 or 7 different releases lined up for modals and pocket modals. And then there'll be like a pause probably in modal releases for a little bit. While we make some more and while we do some other projects that we've been working on. Some of the stuff that we're doing, that we're focusing on right now, that won't be towards the end of the future. It will be, in 6 weeks at a minimum, are going to be stuff like this. So this is going to be one of the modal exclusive grip section offerings. We don't have a name for this one specifically. We released a version of this a long time ago with much tinier machined like dots. This would have been when we still had V1 bolts So this would have been like sometime in 2015, I think, maybe 2016. And I think it was only available on copper products because it was in conjunction with we did some leather pen sleeves that had the same pattern, kind of like a seat, like a car seat or a motorcycle seat. So we decided to make them a little bit bigger in diameter and then add more of them to the grip and kind of offset them a little bit. So this is the giveaway pen for today. This is the only one that we're going to have for a while. So whoever wins the giveaway today, we'll get this pen shipped to them with the Ultem slider and button, all brass. Which brings me to the topic. If you haven't completed the pinned the pinned message in the chat all the way at the top, that is the sign up sheet for the giveaway for this live stream. So if you want to complete that before the end, we'll do the giveaway in the last like 10 to 15 minutes of the live stream. This is one of the Modal exclusive grip section ideas that we've come up with. I think the guys are working on like one or two more that are going to be a little bit different than this, obviously. Like, I haven't seen anything. This is the first one that they did. Yeah, it was, they did say that it was like a golf ball kind of dimpled inspired thing. So kind of a little bit golf ball inspired with the dimples. So I think it looks cool. I wrote with it yesterday and then I cleaned it off. Feels pretty good. I'm not a big fan of brass specifically, so the brass is a little bit not my thing. But that's, that the grip itself feels really good. Smooth, no sharpness to any of the machining marks on there. Polishes up real nice. I'm curious to see what it would look like. What it would look like on an aluminum pen with some anodized or even some Cerakote, where like they color the dimples one color and then the rest of the pen is another color, just to kind of add some contrast in there. So we'll mess around with it as we get more done. We'll definitely do some versions with this grip. I'm not sure how many, but this is kind of like the first one that's coming in terms of specifically just grip section profiles for the Modal. I'm familiar of Nottingham's pens, but I haven't seen them in a long time, Sean. I would say probably 4 or 5 years was the last time I saw one of their pens. I know there's like a bunch. There's only so many different things you can put on a grip section, so I would imagine it's been done before. We just based this one off of the version that we did before, and we just made them bigger around, deeper, and then added more dimples to it than we did in the original version that we released in 2015. And then in terms of the rest of the Modal update, like I said, we're going to have some more Delrin versions of both the standard size and the pocket modals. Delrin pocket modals were released. G took some to the Atlanta Pen Show, so you might have seen some of those teased at the Atlanta Pen Show. Unless you were there, a bunch of people bought them at the Atlanta Pen Show. So she had about, 15 of them at the Atlanta Pen Show, the pocket modals in Delrin. We'll have more of those. We're going to have some more Ultem modals with different colors on them added at some point in the future. And then some more color options, a few more color options before we pause. So that's kind of what's on deck. What's already here, what's already done, are going to mainly be Delrin, white and black Delrin options, some more Ultim options, and then I think maybe we have one more color maybe that we haven't released yet. So not a ton in terms of the rest of the modal stuff before we kind of shift gears a little bit in terms of like what we're focused on pen wise, putting on the website, new stuff. So all right, so that's kind of, I don't want to take up much more time with the modal. We've done tons and tons of modal stuff. So if you're curious about more of the modal, you know, we'll have more of that stuff on Instagram and Facebook and potentially in the newsletters. But we're kind of like, I don't want to say we're shifting gears completely away from that, but like, because we're going to pause and do some other stuff with the modal, we're kind of, I don't want to say we're winding it down. We're trying to focus on some of the other stuff, which brings me to the ink fountain pen. So the Kickstarter for the ink, we ran that. I think it started in December of 2020 or of 2013, and then we fulfilled that, shipped everything out in 2024. So this year is the 10th anniversary / birthday or whatever you want to call it of the ink fountain pen specifically. Well, I guess we did release the rollerball that during the Kickstarter as well. So technically both of them. So there's going to be, so you're going to see some new stuff with the ink this year. One of the big things is, if you're a fan of the ink, then you know that we've had a problem sourcing stainless steel clips that we used for years and years and years. It wasn't a problem sourcing the material. It was a problem with the fact that the material got exploded in price. The sheet material that we use, the raw sheet of stainless steel that we use for those pens, for the clips, became impossible for us to buy it, machine it for the pens, and have them and keep them the price that they were. So that was a year and a half, 2 years ago when that happened. We had a lot of inks. We had a lot of those clips on hand. We slowly sold through them. And last year we switched over to a milled aluminum clip. That's just as, I mean, it's technically speaking, it's not just as robust. It is adequate. It is more than adequate for a pen clip, the one that we machine. And we've done several different finishes on that clip to try to figure out what finish to do. We did some natural anodized, type 3 hard natural anodized on some of them, on the clips, and tried to pair them up. And they looked okay on some colors and they looked awful on other colors. We weren't really happy with that. We did some just clear anodized, so it was just bright, shiny aluminum. And those look good on most of the colors, but they don't really look very good on everything. And they look kind of wonky on the brass and copper. So we did black ones, and those look good on some of them. And again, none of the colors, anodized aluminum colors, looked good. It was, and it's not for reasons of structural or whatever functional. It's more just the overall pen. It changed the way that it looked enough that it was just like, it kind of looks like some versions of them. None of them looked good. We wanted a way to keep the pen looking as good as it did. The clip on that pen is one of the most unique things about it. It's a lot of people comment. about that pen specifically because of the clip. So we're not going back to the stainless steel clip. We've looked again. It's still far too expensive to get stainless steel. So we're going to segue with the current pens that we have in stock that are anodized aluminum. Sometime either over the weekend or next week, we're going to basically like blow out all the colors that we have, which are only like 4 colors. We've only got like, when by colors I don't mean black or tumbled, I mean like the anodized, like, so I think we have green, violet, orange, and red are the only 4 colors that we currently have in stock. Don't have any gray pens, don't have any olive pens. Those colors aren't on it around. So the colored pens that we have, we're going to basically put tumbled aluminum clips and tumbled aluminum grips on those, and we're going to mark them down significantly. They're going to be a big chunk off for those 4 colors. We're just going to get rid of whatever we have in stock on those, and then I'm going to send all new pens out for anodizing. We're going to do full color from going forward. We're going to do full colored inks where the clip, the cap, and the body are going to match. And then the contrasting colors are going to be on the grips. So you'll still have the grip sections of tumbled, silver, black, brass, and copper. And every once in a while we might have to throw some other colors in there, but primarily that's what we're going to do with that. So so that's going to be kind of a change, so that the whole pen's going to be the same color. We just think it's going to look better. The pen's going to look better than having like the bright silver on like the green. Sometimes it looks great, and on some shades of green it just looks weird. And then trying to match a different color would require us to update the photos all the time. Getting the same color, like a single color with the clip, the grip, or the clip and the cap and the body externally is just makes more sense for us. So we'll send out, 50 to 100 of, depending on the different colors. The popular ones will send out more. We'll get them all anodized, the same color in the same batch, get them all back, put them together. They should be like relatively close. So you'll have an all orange ink from externally, all blue ink, all, red, whatever. It just makes sense for us, since it's an aluminum clip and we can anodize it, we're just going to match them going forward. It just became too much of a hassle to figure out the right color of clip to contrast. So we'll just do the grips going forward, just to add a little color to it. And that's kind of where we are with that. We are going, the other news in terms of stuff that we're going to do, we haven't tested this officially, but we're 90% sure, 90 to 95% sure that we're going to be able to get Delrin inks this year. And I'm not sure about Ultem or not. That largely depends on how the Delrin ones turned out officially. Delrin is easier for us to machine. So we think we've figured out some ways to make that work so that the clip is stable and sturdy, and we don't have to change very much in terms of how the clip screws into the cap. Makes it completely functional. So that's going to be something, if they haven't already started on prototyping it, it'll be something that they start prototyping soon. So that's kind of where we're at with the ink. There's more, like, we're going to do more with the 10th anniversary of the ink, but because I don't have specifics with it, you're going to have to wait a little bit. But I promise, but there will be more. So that's kind of the teaser. There's going to be some changes to the anodized inks. We're going to figure out what clips to use for the brass and copper. We're not going to be able to do copper ink clips. we think we'll be able to do brass ink clips. So we'll have to figure out something to do with the copper. More information to come on that later. Stay tuned on that one. And as far as the titanium question, I don't know. I don't have an answer on the titanium simply because right now the cost of titanium, it is not feasible for us to do titanium currently in the market due to the cost that it is. There it is. I knew somebody's going to ask that question. There you go. Mark this at exactly, what is it? 1540 on on April 12th. The Zerk question was asked almost twice. So temporarily, like, we're not going to be doing any titanium for the foreseeable future. We just can't afford to do it. So titanium's on pause until we're through this period of retracted buying and increased prices on goods. Okay, so I want to go back, since I'm going to start the Q&A now before we do the drawing. I'm going to go back, Carol. You asked, Paul, of all the writing instruments you've created, which do you favor for your own personal use? So I have two pens of ours that I prefer to use now. Before I worked here, I primarily wrote with an ink fountain pen. And then over time, I've used all of our pens. Well, that's not really true. I'm not a big fan of the Render K or Fountain K. So I've never really used either of those. Briefly, I used I kept a Render K Mini as a backup pen when I was in college, 5 or 6 years ago. Just in case, my other pen my fountain pen ran out of ink or something, and would use that to take notes just because it was easy to carry around. But I don't really like that pen. Currently, I really only use a Vertex or a Modal. So that's basically it. Those are the two pens that I use. I have a titanium ink or a titanium bolt that I use just because the weight of the titanium is kind of like where I like. That's my like perfect weight of a pen for that size. But ever since we released the Modal, I use the Modal a lot more. Mostly because whenever we do any kind of new pen or a new grip section or something, I'll use it for 2, 3, 4 months. I'll use it for at least a month, testing it out. I'll daily carry it, testing it out. And then since doing that with the Modal, I just have kept it in my pocket, different versions in terms of grip section and materials and stuff. Like, I went through I carried a brass one for a while. I carried a mixed brass and aluminum one for a while. I carried a half Ultem, half Delrin one until most recently, and now I'm carrying this one, which is a Cerakote, gray Cerakote one. And mostly I'm carrying this one just to test the Cerakote. It's a different Cerakote producer that we've used in the past. So I'm testing this just to see how this Cerakote wears from this applicator, and then also see how the Cerakote wears in the slot with the button. But I'll probably carry this for 2 weeks and then go back to one of the previous ones that I carry. Although this one is pretty comfortable, like this finish is a little bit better than polished aluminum for me. All right, so that's that question. Vertex in a fountain pen or a rollerball, and then the Modal are the ones Carol, the ink does not sell. So Carol asked about a clipless ink. The ink doesn't sell without a clip, really. Like it's just not. I think it's too big to comfortably carry in a pocket, unlike the Vertex, and without. And so when we had clipless versions of it, they just never sold. And one of the big selling, again, one of the big aesthetic things with that pen, I gotta put that down. I'm gonna mess with it the whole time. One of the big aesthetic things with that pen is that clip. Like it's a design feature on that pen, is just the way that it looks, the way that it fastens, the overall look of the pen with it on there. Otherwise, it just kind of looks generic. It looks like 100 other pens that are a little bit modern. But with the clip on there, it stands out. It doesn't look like anybody else's pen. So I think that's a big reason why they don't sell. So figuring out how to do that pen, figuring out how to do plastic, non-metal versions of the ink with a clip has definitely been something that we've been kicking around for a long time. All right, so Andreas, has anyone modified a Zebra Sarasa refill for use in the Modal? I don't, not that I know of. I have some of those around here, honestly. I think they just need to be trimmed. Unless the tip is some weird shape. I don't know. But that's probably, I haven't done it myself. I just recently did a Uniball modification. Most G2 110 millimeter length refills just need to be trimmed to be able to fit in a Modal. There's a few of them that, because of the way that the tip is, won't actually actuate through because it requires a different machining inside, and we just didn't machine them that way because you can't, in a pen like that, a lot of times you can't factor in all the different tip size, tip shapes, and everything. At some point in time, we'll probably put together, I don't want a video, but maybe like a blog post or something that kind of walks through different, a series of, hey, this is how you hack this refill, this is how you hack this refill. It's become less and less popular to do refill hacks on our pens than it used to be. So it's not something we've put a lot of time and effort into keeping up on. Plus, there's just a lot more of them, a lot more refills on the market now than there used to be. So probably something we should do. You can turn it into something fun. Jay Bright, any of the Delrin Pocket Modals left, the Pen Club versions? Yeah, so we haven't released the Delrin Pocket Modals. Yeah, so we haven't officially released the Delrin Pocket Modals for the Pen Club. We have white ones and black ones coming maybe next week. If not next week, definitely the week after. I don't know. It's been a long time since I was in school. I just threw 5 years out there because it sounded about right. All right, let's see. How do you get that incredible finish on a full-size model? It's super comfortable in the hand. Aluminum blue is what I'm referring to. Oh, the Prospector version? We haven't done that version. Did we do that? We did. Yeah, we did that. Oh, like in December of last year, we did a Prospector full-size version that had that like matte blue with the brass clip, Sean. So we'll do it again. We'll do another run of Prospector modals, probably with a grip section profile for the full size. I don't know if it'll be the dimpled version or one of the other ones, but we'll definitely do another one down the road. I just don't know when. Right now, I don't have any full-size aluminum modals to even send out to do in anodized colors. Like all of the, we're machining more, but so it's going to be a while. I know, Daniel. I know it's sacrilege. I know the people that love the Fountain K absolutely love it. It's just not a comfortable pen for me to write with. I don't know if it's the diameter of the grip section, if it's the length of it, the weight of it. I don't know what it is. I have no hate for the pen itself. I'm not the reason we discontinued it. It was a joint decision for us to discontinue that pen. It's just not one that's comfortable to me for me to use. I tend to like larger diameter pens. That's why I gravitate towards the Vertex, and in terms of like non-Keras pens, stuff like the Mont Blanc 146 and the Lamy 2000, pens that have a larger diameter, like that's more what I gravitate towards. So I just don't have there's not a soft spot in my heart for that pen. Sean, how are things coming along with the plastic Vertex grips? I don't know. Bill's in communication with the local company that we use that does the first portion of molding those, and then once we get them in, we machine the internal threads and then do an external machining pass. So So I'm not sure where they're at on those. I know that he's been in talks with them. I know that him and I have talked about getting those in. I'm hoping sooner rather than later, because I have not a whole bunch, but I have a couple different resin Vertexes that I've just been holding on to because we don't have resin grips. So yeah. Ishmael, is the 51 Vertex still on the horizon? So for those of you that are like 51, what does that mean? Yes, we are still looking at doing a variant of the Vertex that has a aluminum cap and a resin body, kind of like the old Parker 51s and some of the older, like the vintage pens that had metal caps and either metal or resin grips and then resin bodies. So Parker 51 is like the big one, but also there was Schaefer's whole line of like touchdowns and snorkels, and Waterman had several pens that had the same thing around the same time. So we are still like looking at doing some type of like homage piece where we do that. It's just, I don't have resin bodies in terms of the ones that we want to pair with the caps, but yes, that's still in the plans. Chris, Paul, you did a high polished aluminum Vertex. Any chance any more of those, or do you plan it? Yeah, we'll do another silver Vertex. I just don't have Vertex metal body or like pens right now, raw ones to send out. The next batch of Vertex that we machine, we'll do some more silver ones. James, if I had more of those, I would. I don't have any more of those currently, but it's a color that we're gonna get more of, because that was a real small batch. I think we only had 30 of those pens total, but I think we've sent a second batch of those up to the anodizer already, so there will be more of the orange and green ones, I think, coming. They should be on the way back, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Jay Bright, ever consider a pattern machine body on a pen? We've talked about it. I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day. We've messed around with it multiple different times on machines, doing it with the laser. It's just real time consuming. And whenever you have to add that amount of time to a production machine part, it ultimately gets translated into cost. Like we have to offset it somehow. You know, if it doubles or triples the time it takes to machine a part in the machine, there has to be some type of offset. the stuff that we do on the grip section profile stuff is so fast, it doesn't add a lot to it, but doing an actual pattern that would be more noticeable would be considerably more time consuming, both in programming the machine and in executing it, which is why we've tested it with the laser as well, and it's just never worked out right. It's something that we always talk about doing. It's just not something that we've done recently. So, Carol, overall question: would you consider collaboration with John Brooks for his? Carol, we did a Brooks material on the Vertex in 2019 or 2020. I don't remember what year it was, but we've done that before in the past. I don't know if we do it in the future. It's possible we do it in the future just because we've changed the way that we machine the pins some. But it's not out of the question of that we would potentially do it again. I think more of it just it just lands on when we machine more vertexes, whether or not we do that or not. So, and I don't know when the next time we're going to be doing that is. So, let's see. Ishmael, I still want my Carta KPC pen, but I know the reason why I can't have it. It's funny that you bring up my Carta. We have 500 micarta fountain K bodies that have like cracks in the threads back in the back of the shop that we've just been sitting on for I don't know, 7 years. Those might be resurfaced in some shape or form in the future. We're considering figuring out how to fix them, but they're going to be K-series pins if we do. You can wish away. I don't have any more dragon skin bodies for now. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while before we have more dragon skin stuff. Sean, it was an anniversary edition. I just don't remember what year it was. 2019 to 2020. I don't remember which year it was. Jonathan, yeah, we're going to have more Ultim modals, both the Speed Groove ones for the Pen Club and, well, I don't know if we have any Speed Groove full size. I think we have Speed Groove pockets, but I do have some standard size ones that we'll see soon. Can't turn them into lanyard beads. They are machined already as pens. There's just it would just be and they're bar stock pens, so they'd just be like rings. There's no shape. We couldn't put any shape on them. There's not enough wall thickness left on them or anything like that. So, all right, we're kind of getting towards the end in terms of questions. I do want to run the giveaway. So if you haven't signed up, I'm going to 5 more minutes or a couple more minutes. If you hadn't completed the pinned, excuse me, if you haven't filled out the form that's pinned in the comments of the chat, please complete that now so that I can run the giveaway randomizer and we can give away this cool pen. I'll wait here for a couple more minutes. Excuse me. Talk amongst yourselves while I find my page here. Are we going to run into the same problem that I've run in the last 2 times where we have multiple different people with the same name in the chat? I thought for sure I had avoided it last time, and nope. Did not. seems like we always have at least one person here that has the same name as somebody else. And inevitably, I will draw one of those people. At least we only have one winner today. One winner. Bob, I don't know the answer to that question. I've asked Schmidt. They're the ones that manufacture the inserts and the lead that comes with lead. So I'm not positive, and they did not answer me the 2 times that I asked them. They didn't even respond to me via email on either of our contacts. So I can't tell you what brand or hardness it is. It's possible it's their own brand. They do make a lot of their own other things. They manufacture a lot of their own other stuff. I would imagine it's just a partnership with some other company, but I'm not sure. And I haven't looked on the internet to look it up, what Schmidt uses in theirs. So that's on me for not finding it out. I just figured I would ask them after looking at the packaging and not saying. Oh, church boy, we might. I'm not sure. Yeah, Carol, it says March. That's because I was dumb and didn't update it. So now I updated it. But yeah, that's the correct form. That's my fault. I was in a hurry this morning, so that's on me. Okay. Come on. All right. Last call for people signing up. I am going to do the randomizer. List randomizer. Let me catch up in the chat real quick. Rustic, if you're talking about the Ultem modals, yes, we will have more Ultem modals. If you're talking about Ultem anything else, we haven't released Ultem decagraphs or Ultem vertexes again yet. So, yeah, I don't think it's probably not Pentel or Uni. It's probably some European brand, since everything else is made in Germany. All right, let's do the giveaway. I'm running the list. Who's gonna win today? Roll these dice. See how many times we're gonna do it. 5 times. Randomize the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, can I read this? And the winner is Mr. Sean Murphy. Congratulations, Sean Murphy. You are the winner of this fancy win it before you can buy it Modal, brass Modal with the unnamed, could be the dimple, could be the I don't know what. So there you have it. Thank you everybody for playing along on the giveaway. Hopefully I didn't make anybody mad because they didn't win. So you can email me, Sean. Email me your shipping information so I can get it shipped out to you next week. All right, everybody, it is about that time. So if we have any like last minute questions, I'd be happy to answer your last minute questions. If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Put this one to bed, close the books. What are the other words there are on shutting it down? We're going to go ahead and do that. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to answer any questions. Oh, shoot. Vertex 51 with the brush capped. What am I drinking today, Ishmael? Oh my God. Not the Oban. Not the Oban today. I'm not drinking Oban. Mostly because I had a sandwich that was a cold cut sandwich with some balsamic on it, and I didn't really think that a peaty scotch would be a highlight to that sandwich. So I'm just drinking just a bourbon. You're welcome, everybody. Next time, if you have any questions, like I said, like I always say, if you have any questions, shoot us an email. Delrin grip tip for the Vertex. I don't think so, Dave. When we've attempted to do grips with the Vertex before, it was very, very difficult to do. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I don't think it's something that we'll be able to pull off with the different steps that we have to take for that one. The Delrin Decograph grips were extremely difficult for us to accomplish, and we ended up having to scrap about half of them because Delrin, like, it machines to tolerance, and you think you're good, and then it shrinks afterwards, and then you can't get a nib in there to save your life, and then you can't go back and machine them again because it'll just tear them up. The wall thickness is, because we need to do that. We need to do that machining run first before we do the outside. So we'll do the machining on the inside, then do the outside, and then it'll contract. And we can't fit the grip in there. So I don't think we will be able to do those. It's something that we have not tried it yet, so we will probably attempt to do it, but I'm not sure that it will be successful. So thank you guys for showing up. Again, I really appreciate it. It would be super boring if I were to sit here and just talk to myself and not having any interaction. So appreciate everybody that shows up. Have a good evening. The whiskey for tonight is the same one I've been drinking on for a while. This is Nulu for a while. This is kind of like my go-to live stream whiskey. Nulu. This is a toasted. This is a West Coast and Southwest specific release. Didn't think I'd like it. No, I'm not the biggest fan of all of their stuff. I think their stuff tends to be a little bit overpriced. But I got that thrown in with another bottle of something else. And it turns out it's pretty good. So that's what I'm drinking on. So thank you guys, everybody. I really appreciate it. Until next time, please have a safe weekend. If you have any questions, you can email me, paul@kariscustoms.com. You can post afterwards. You can message us on any of our social media accounts, and we'll get back to you when we get it. If you have any questions or concerns specifically about anything that I brought up here, please email those to me directly. If you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned in the past, or need me to clarify some stuff, email is always the best option. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Until next month, bye everybody.